HBO chief Casey Bloys says that the Harry Potter TV series is, quote, not secretly being infused with anything. I wrote this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. And he did an interview with Matthew Bellany over on the Town podcast, and he was asked, Harry Potter on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being almost never and 10 being constantly refreshing the site, how often do you monitor JK Rowling's Twitter for her transgender commentary? And Bloys responded, I'm very aware of her views and what's going on, so not often. He was then asked, do you worry about her transgender views? And he says, no, I've said this before, but the decision to be in business with JK Rowling is not new for us. We've been in business for 25 years. We already have a show on HBO from her called CB Strike that we do with the BBC. It's pretty clear that those are her personal political views. She's entitled to them. He then continues saying, Harry Potter is not secretly being infused with anything, and she's entitled to those views. And I think people are pretty clear that she's entitled to them. And if you want to debate her, you can go on Twitter. So remember, they did indeed include transgender ideology in Hogwarts Legacy. There is like this barkeep. So they did indeed include that with that game. I'm not really sure how involved J.K. Rowling is in any of these creative decisions anymore. We know that they said they're going to be staying to the books and keeping its integrity and all of this stuff. But we already know that they are race-swapping characters, specifically Severus Snape, which we'll get to here in a little bit, because we did have a little bit more questions from Bloys. He was also asked if Pedro Pascal had said anything to him about her. He said no. Later in the interview, he briefly returned to the subject, saying, somebody said to me, when that op-ed came out and you mentioned the Pedro Pascal thing, well, are you concerned or whatever? I was like, I'm not a principal of a middle school where all the students have to get along. These are all very smart, creative people who are going to have their opinions. I doubt that anyone buying into gender ideology, I question their intelligence and the fact that they can actually use reason. And I don't think they can, because I think a lot of times they're blinded by woke ideology and they don't want to look at anything outside of it. They don't want to see the truth. They don't have eyes to see it. And whether you want to call that lack of intelligence or whatever, they clearly don't want to actually engage with the truth, and they are going to continue to push this lie. So obviously they're referring here to comments that Pedro Pascal recently made on this video from this activist Tariq Ralph, who was clearly denigrating and bashing JK Rowling for standing up against the transgender political movement. And remember, Rowling is just against the transgender political movement. She's not actually against gender ideology, as she has written about many times. In fact, especially when she originally started opposing the transgender political movement. But in this video here in the comments on Instagram, Pascal said, awful, disgusting crap is exactly right. Heinous loser behavior. It's projection, right? What do SJWs do? They lie, they double down, and they project. And Pedro Pascal is clearly projecting onto JK Rowling his own activism. Because I think at the end of the day, he actually knows. He knows that what he's doing. I think a lot of times these people do know what they're doing as well, which makes it even worse, right? So it's not just a lack of intelligence. It's actually disingenuous, deviant behavior done on purpose, done with malice. So as I said, with the we know that they're pushing this DEI agenda. We know they're not actually staying true to the books, because they did indeed announce that this actor Papa Aceto is going to be playing Severus Snape. Clear race swap there. So maybe Casey Bloys is right. There is no secret. What did he say? We're not secretly infusing it. I think that's what he said, right? Where is it here? Yeah, it's not secretly being infused with anything. No, it's not, right? And this is what Disney was saying, right? We're putting in our not-so-secret gay agenda, right? With the Reimagined Tomorrow stuff. So clearly, it's not secret, because you're making it very abundantly clear that you're pushing the DEI agenda by casting this actor. There's no way that he is the best actor for the role, because he doesn't look like Severus Snape. This is all very well documented on what Severus Snape looked like. He was not a black person. He's a white person. We have a drawing from JK Rowling where she literally says what he looked like, and he doesn't look like the guy on the left. He does look like the guy on the right. And there's multiple descriptions in the books of him clearly being white as well. And there's also merchandise that was obviously approved by JK Rowling on what he looked like before even the movies came out, even before Alan Rickman was cast as the character, because that's what he looked like. So there's obviously no secret agenda being infused, but it's clear that there is an agenda being infused. And I would not be surprised if there is gender ideology stuff in the television show, because again, they included it in the video game. They included it in Hogwarts Legacy with that barkeep. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they put it into the show. Obviously, I'm already completely done with the show because they've made it clear that they are pushing the DEI agenda with this race swap. So just adding in gender ideology would just be another reason for even more people to reject this show and not even watch it. And it's a shame, because I actually think the Harry Potter stories is an actual pretty solid story about good defeating evil. And I do think there are actually some interesting Christian allegories with it, especially towards the end, talking, and even with the Horcrux idea about how sin basically destroys you, it tears you apart. And obviously it splits Voldemort's soul, etc. And then you go. He has to like live this vapid existence in order to survive. And then obviously you have the clear Christ metaphor with Harry Potter, where he actually dies, goes into kind of that heaven area, similar to Christ, I guess, descending into hell. And then you kind of see the soul of Voldemort there in that area as well. And then he comes back to life and he defeats Voldemort. That's similar to the biblical stories about Christ. After he is crucified, he descends into hell. He defeats Satan. He frees his people, like Adam and Eve, Abraham, etc. Leads them out of Sheol, and goes and opens the gates to heaven. And we see something similar play out at the end of Harry Potter. But even in the other beginning books, obviously coming of age, very similar to Star Wars, and all of the challenges that he has to face in combating various forms of evil. And then obviously you have the great, you have love also is what protects Harry Potter, right? From Voldemort, etc., the love of his mother. And then even when he has to kind of fight him at the end, Severus Snape shows himself as one of the true heroes of the story, despite his cold personality. So I actually think the books are very well done, but clearly if they're going to be pushing this agenda, not going to be staying faithful to the books, easy pass for me. But let me know what you guys make of what Casey Bloys had to say here about JK Rowling, about they're not infusing anything secret, or it's not secretly being infused with anything into the show. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.
Why would you be afraid of the people? Why are you not afraid of God instead of man?